Thanks again for subscribing to the Clive Barker podcast. It means a lot to us. This is the only podcast dedicated to the imagination of Clive Barker. This is episode 180, where we dive into the final results of the Duels of Blood competition at www.duelsofblood.com and catch up on the Clive Barker news as well. All right, well, this is episode 180 of the Clive Barker podcast, where we're going to talk about the Duels of Blood final results and Clive Barker news. And I'm Ryan.
And I'm Jose.
And I'm Rob.
Hey, yeah, so we haven't sat down to record a full episode in like a month, just because we had so much stuff, so much content from the Texas Frightmare weekend. So this is right. Kind of our first full episode now that we've run out of stuff from there.
And what a great way to start, but to talk about the final results of the Duels of Blood, right? It's the final round.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And did you guys expect this result?
I was very surprised. I did not see that. From the beginning, I didn't expect the result we had of, Palty Taylor winning. That was
Yeah.
But he deserves it. He really, he had help, and he kind of, wanted it himself. He really pushed for it, and
he was campaigning a lot, and the page Hellraiser Judgement Promotions was promoting this a lot, and
so he had help.
It's the freshest Hellraiser in people's minds right now. So I guess that had a lot to do with this, and a lot of people were happy, or they liked the movie, even though I know there's a lot of vitriol from a lot of fans out there. But I think honestly some of those fans will never be happy with another Hellraiser in the current franchise, so whatever. But I'm not dismissing their opinions, but well, I guess I am a little bit. But I like the movie. I like Hellraiser Judgment, so I understand that a lot of people enjoyed, even though there's problems with the story a little bit, that there's some problems with the script. But I can say that Palty Taylor did a good job as Pinhead. And I mean that in a professional way, in the sense that you saw that Frightmare weekend, Doug Bradley and Palty Taylor were hanging out together. They were talking. And, the world didn't end. And people, reality didn't melt away when the two of them got together. So it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Well, and regarding some of that criticism, there's also you sort of forget that the Hellraiser fandom is really kind of a mixed bag, because there was one post on the Hellbound Web Facebook where somebody said, "Hey, post all your favorite Hellraiser sequel or movies in order." And I swear to God, there were some. I almost took a screenshot to show you guys, because there was one guy that was like number 5, and then number 8, and then number 7. And,
wow!
And like 1 was waved down at the end.
Oh no! Okay, well, it's an opinion, I guess.
Yeah.
You can't really judge an opinion.
You can,
but you can. Okay, right, you can.
Sorry.
But you can't really say an
put
opinion
number
is
1
wrong,
down at
right?
the.
To put the number 1 down at the bottom, it's just
Come
that's
on.
not. Unless you're doing one of those reverse countdown things, like those videos that say top 10, number 10, and then they end up with number 1 at the bottom. But but I get it. Some people get different things out of these sequels, and
it has to do with which one, their age and which one they saw first, and if they were 14 and they rented Hellraiser Judgment from the video store and that was their first Hellraiser movie, it's going to carry a lot more weight than not Judgment, Inferno, and it'll carry a lot more weight than it should.
like which one is your favorite Friday the 13th sequel, for example, Rob? Is it the first one, or do you have another one in the middle that you like?
My favorite Friday the 13th is probably 2.
With the burlap sack on his head.
Yeah, I actually like that one. That's my favorite.
See, there's some people right now who are probably saying, "How can you say that? That's terrible. The first one is the best." So
exactly.
right. I like the one where he goes to Manhattan. I like the one where I actually like the one where he goes to hell, but I don't think I like it better than the first one, for example. But I just like movies that kind of expand on the mythology, and so I think that Hellraiser Judgment did a lot of that with the Stygian Inquisition and stuff like that. So yeah, Paul T. Taylor won the round. I'm sorry, Sister Celise, but you put up a good fight. You did put up a good fight.
Yeah. So she did. 424 votes she had, which was really a really good showing, but only 39% of the votes. So Judgment Pinhead got 61% of the votes.
And it's a great ending to this Duels of Blood, I think. From 64 characters, right? We start these things with 64 characters.
Yeah.
And
all Hellraiser Cenobites this time around.
Yeah, and in the first couple we had brackets, right? But this one we didn't, because in the bracket system we would pick like something from Aberrat, something from Great and Secret Show, and something from Hellraiser. But then in this one we started out with 64 Hellraiser characters, including characters from Paul Kane's Servants of Hell, Hellraiser anthology like Pinocchio and that little demon guy who cleans up the body parts in hell.
Right.
Yeah. Caesar, little
Caesar.
Little Caesar, pizza.
Right.
So
Caesar was the big guy. That's right.
Okay, gotcha.
Probably the most fun I've had with the Duels of Blood. This edition,
it was fun.
Really the most fun.
Lots of votes. Some of these rounds had more votes than the first couple of volumes.
Right.
So that was.
Oh yeah.
And it was actually, this is what I had in mind the very first time we did this, is that I thought people would be campaigning and making like campaign signs and videos and stuff, and that never happened the first 2 years, and that's kind of what I was hoping that people would do. And now this time when we see it happen, you realize how huge of an effect it has on the results of the competition.
Oh, it really, really does.
Yeah, I was really happy to see the fans get involved, like, Lori and with her videos that she made, and that was really cool. Hopefully that can continue in further, volumes.
Yeah.
Editions of the.
So, do you guys have? This may be premature, but do you guys have any ideas about next year's Duels of Blood that you want to throw around?
I was thinking Nightbreed.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I think that we could come up with 64 Nightbreed characters if we really pushed it.
Do you think so?
Between the comics and the and the movie.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, we can probably do that. The comics really expanded on the roster of Nightbreed, so I think, and we can also take some from Nightbreed Chronicles, I guess.
Yeah. Between Nightbreed Chronicles and the Boom comics and especially the Marvel comics, I think we could do it.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So next year there may be a Nightbreed 64 character Duels of Blood. So let's start throwing ideas for those characters. Yeah. If you guys have if the listeners out there have any sort of ideas for the Duels of Blood, just send them our way.
And we got a little bit out of order, but this episode is sponsored by Horror Marketplace, HORR, Horror, HORROR, Marketplace.com. And I gotta fix that there. But yeah, so Horror Marketplace, if you haven't been there, it's kind of an interesting store. It'll have a familiar look to it. It's similar to the old real Clive Barker store.
Yes, so Horror Marketplace is your one-stop shop for rare genre items collected from around the world. All the stock is very limited. Sometimes they only have 1 or 2 items for sale. So when they're gone, they're really gone for good. So if you see something you like it at the store, you're probably, you better get it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and right now they have Nightbreed the Cabal cut. And, what's funny is that people were going nuts, getting angry and stuff about the availability of the Cabal cut, but it's been sitting on this website for quite a while now on horrormarketplace.com. It's still there, and they now have international shipping. So if anybody wants to buy one, they're there, and they're actually cheaper now than they were on the real Clive Barker store.
Right. So we're talking about standard copies, not the deluxe.
Right.
Right.
Those
the limited
sold
edition.
out. Those sold out like in the first week that they were on sale
Yeah.
last year.
So some people complain about that. They say, "Oh, we were told there were only going to be 250 and 50 limited." But okay, so just for the sake of repetition, I'm so tired of saying this stuff.
Yeah, I know.
But okay, so the original intention was to make just 250 because that was the agreement that was made with Morgan Creek, and then the minimum Blu-ray pressing order is 1,000 copies. Okay, so that's the number of copies that were originally made, and then Morgan Creek actually didn't really care about just sticking to 250 copies. They said, well, if you have any more, it's okay to sell them. And so after the 50 deluxe were sold out with the signed slipcases and posters and buttons and enamel pen and all that stuff that came with it, the 200 standard editions got sold out at the real Clive Barker store, but then they kept popping up. Okay, they kept popping up because it's like, oh, well, we're going to put some more copies up. Yeah. And then we're going to put some more copies up. And then, oh, look, we gave some people comp copies to like actors that were in the movie, and they're selling those at tables and conventions and stuff. So more kept popping up. And it just seemed like it got a lot of people angry because like, well, you said there was just going to be 200. Yeah, but those were not supposed to be limited. That we never said that those would be limited to 200.
Well,
we just said that 200 were available because of the deal. And then after the deal, the Morgan Creek said, oh, yeah, you can sell more if you have them, though. That's okay.
Yeah. It was 200 special editions and 50 limited. And then that 50 turned into 400.
Not special, standard.
Standard.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, it was 200 special editions and 50 standard.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 50 became 200, or it became 400, and then plus all the ones that were given out to cast. And so the ones that are available on the marketplace now are were the comp copies that people are selling.
Thanks for the correction there, because I think I was saying there was 50 deluxe and it was 200, right? So sorry about that, and thanks for the correction. But right, so yeah, copies keep popping up because it's a way to also to fight the scalpers that we're doing. Yeah. You remember when standard copies and even like deluxe copies were showing up on eBay for like ridiculous prices? Yeah. And we even have an episode that we did. What was it called? This one goes out to the scalpers or something.
We hope this makes the scalpers angry or something like that.
Yeah. That's when more copies. We hope
this annoys the resellers. That's what it was.
Yeah, because we had an episode call like that when there were more standard copies for sale. And so, okay, so these are like the very last of the standard copies that were actually, they were comp copies from people who used to work for Clive Barker's store, and they still had some left. And so these are the ones that are available at Horror Marketplace. So if you really want to see the Cabal cut, and it's got, it's a great copy. It's not sourced from VHS for the most part. It only has like maybe 10 minutes of VHS footage in it. And it's got 2 commentary tracks, one of them with Russell Charrington and Jimmy Johnson, who were the original editors of the first Cabal cut. And there's another commentary track with Ryan and I, and we were talking about trivia from the movie and stuff like that, and Occupy Midian. So, like Ryan said, it's a good addition, I think.
Yeah. You come with a nice slip cover that I think is pretty cool.
And please don't email the Horror Marketplace store telling them that they're, that these are like, they're not supposed to be selling these, or that you guys are like tricking people or this or that. It's like nobody's being tricked here.
Yeah.
There were 1,000 copies. That's all that was made. And there's still some copies available, but there's not many left. So I know we keep saying, oh, look, there's only another 20 and these are the last ones. But it's like we're only telling you the information that we're being given, and sometimes more copies pop up. And it's kind of like when Dark Regions Press or another one of those companies says, hey, this book, this edition of Weaveworld is sold out. And then 1 year later they say, hey, we were cleaning the warehouse and we found another 10 copies.
Yeah.
And you can get them now for like for like $1,000 each. It's kind of the same thing. Okay, it's like more copies pop up and they're available for sale. So if you want another copy of the Cabal Cut Blu-ray, this is your chance. Go to Horror Marketplace.
And there were 1,000 copies. I think that we'll see them circulating around here and there. You know, some people just wanted to see it, and maybe some people are saying, I still like the theatrical cut better, and they put it up on eBay too. So
that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I know that some people prefer the theatrical cut. There's some people prefer the theatrical cut ending and stuff like that. But hey, you know, that's just the way it happens. And, you know, you can still find it on eBay, I guess. But if you want a fresh one, go to horrormarketplace.com.
Yeah.
Is it for $50? Is that the price?
Okay, let's see. I'm right there at the website right now, so let me see what
it's not on the main page. We have to go to the Blu-ray. Let's see.
Okay, so the Cabal Cut on Horror Marketplace is £39.99. So let's see, how much is that in dollars? It is $53.37 United States dollars. So there you go.
Yeah,
that's how much it's selling for right now.
And they've got a lot of other cool stuff. There's a lot of limited edition autographed Blu-rays, and there's Blu-rays on there. And the other thing that because the website is just starting up, you can sell your own stuff on there if you want to, and they don't even take a cut of it. You know, they're just building up the store, and they are sure that when you get there, when people get there to buy stuff, that they might buy other stuff on there. So.
Right. And they're also kind of an extension from Tom Holland's store, I guess.
Yeah, like a sister site to Tom Holland's Terror Time.
So you can find stuff like Fright Night, Twilight Time Blu-ray, out of print, signed by Tom Holland. And they have a last copy available for £60. And
there's stuff signed by Joe Dante, Toby Hooper, Tom Holland, of course, the Soska sisters. And
there's actually Clive Barker original art being sold there. I think some of this belonged to Russell Charrington's personal collection. So you have like Stitchlings, Cenobite Concept by Clive Barker. You know, you have stuff that ends up in Aberrat, for example. You know, they're being sold by £1,000, £1,150, £3,000. You know, £250 for like ink on paper sketches. So very, very nice selection of items here.
And we've also got this cool
go ahead.
These enamel badges. It has like, Outpost 31, which is from, if you know your horror movie, that's from The Thing. And they have one it says, "Do you read Sutter Kane?"
Yeah, right.
Yeah, which is cool.
That's very, very nice. So yeah, thanks to Horror Marketplace for being a sponsor of the Clive Barker podcast and for all their help and stuff that they offered us in the past.
Yes, yeah, for sure. And so you don't have to rewind. That's horrormarketplace.com. Like, Horror Marketplace is all one word, spelled exactly like you would think it would be. So go check it out. Okay, so yeah, that brings us to the Clive Barker news section. There is a Hellraiser Judgement prop auction, and as we're recording this, I think it has started, but it's not over yet.
Yes.
Props from the production of Hellraiser Judgement are on sale, and now I'm kind of curious to see what they have, because they don't. When they were teasing this, when we made this story, they didn't say what was going to be in it.
Oh yeah, you had to register for the auction.
Oh, okay.
But you can go and see and preview the gallery, and they have stuff like the Surgeon's crescent blades. From Judgement, like the guy who comes out from the back of that giant butcher-like dude.
Yeah,
he had
slices the skin off of the.
Yes.
You
have an Auditor signed bust and mask by Gary J. Tunnicliffe. You have a Lament configuration puzzle box that was used on screen. You have the Surgeon's biohazard mask.
You have the skin of Watson's body.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
One of those hands. Amputated hands that are left in that little children's park, holding some flowers.
Oh, right, yeah.
It also has one of the deleted scenes, the pig head mask. That was from a deleted scene from the movie.
Oh, okay.
What was that? Well, I wonder what that was about. Was that another character?
No, it was remember when I can't remember the the main character's name, but he was walking through the
Detective
alleyway.
Carter?
Yeah, Detective Carter, and he was drunk, and he has these visions of I guess like a skinned bum, like a vagrant.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember that sequence? Well, that sequence was supposed to be a little longer with his wife. He's supposed to see his wife. It kind of was supposed to be like a foreshadow of what his wife's done with his brother, and she's having sex with these two characters that have pig masks on.
Oh,
and that was
heck of a dream.
That's what that's from.
huh.
Yeah. And there's like Pinhead's makeup bust and costume, the Butcher's baby mask and costume, and even Pinhead's throne.
Yeah, that's
and
pretty cool.
Yeah, if you look at the throne image, you see it's like this carved throne. It's kind of simplistic looking, but at the same time, there's some detail here that it's not obvious in the movie because of the angle that it was shot. You have like in the armrests, you see that there are nail marks, deep nail grooves into it, as if someone was sitting there and like just grabbing it really tight and scraping its nails against the armrest. So I really like that detail that you can see in this picture, because in the actual movie you really didn't see much. So I wonder how much these things go for.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the results of all that, and
Yep.
I'm sure Hellraiser Judgment Promotions, Facebook page is on it.
As we are recording this, there's 1 day and 23 hours and 31 minutes to go until the auction is actually online. So I guess in a couple of days we'll be able to tell people more about this on our Facebook page.
Cool. All right, looking forward to it. And speaking of Hellraiser Judgment, Paul T. Taylor is going to be at London Film and Comic Con, July 27 through 29, 2018, in Olympia, which I have no idea where Olympia is in London.
Yeah.
It's
But
Olympia.
you put the address here.
Hammersmith Road, London.
Yeah.
Yeah. So London people will hopefully know where that is. But yeah, July 27 through 29, you can meet Paul T. Taylor. He was super gracious and nice when we met him at Texas Frightmare weekend.
Yeah, looks like he's going to be doing a convention in Pinhead's old stomping grounds, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The Olympia in London is an exhibition center. It's an event conference center in West Kensington, London, England. So it's a big place, big event place that people can go to.
A lot of stars going to be there for this. I'm looking at the people at the guests, and there's Lance Hendrickson. He's gonna be
cool.
there. A lot of the Aliens cast. Game of Thrones.
Lance Henriksen, of course, was in Hellworld. He was the host of the Hellraiser house, they called it, I think. So for that guy who put Hellraiser 8 on the top of his list, I'm sure he would love to go and talk to him about it. Yeah, go check out Paul T. Taylor, and please just don't go tell him that, oh, you're not Doug Bradley. We know that. Just, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything. That's my advice.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see him going across the pond for more trips promoting his Hellraiser Judgment film. So go check it out.
And the Clive Barker Archive wants you to sign up for their newsletter. So if you go clivebarkerarchive.com, it's kind of a sister site to clivebarker.info, the old information website that Phil and Sarah Stokes run. They're the official Clive Barker site. So they also have an official Clive Barker store. It's not the one, it's not the one that has like all of his leftover stuff but it does. They do sell prints, and they sell original books. They sell the Imagineer art books. That's where those come from now, and they sell the new playbooks that are coming out, as well as some prints and
posters,
postcards and stuff too. Yeah, and
posters. Notebooks bound with Clive Barker art. That looks really nice. You have a little notebook that I'm thinking about buying. It's got little Malingo and his mother as a portrait, and it's just such a beautiful little piece. That's really cute.
And when I saw they were looking for people to sign their newsletter, I'm like, man, I can't believe I didn't do that before. So I went in and signed it right away. So you can we can keep on reporting on the new stuff that comes up.
Right. So go there and check it out. It's on clivebarkerarchive.com and /contact. So you go there and you can you have a few fields where you can sign up with your email address to receive the occasional news and updates.
Mm-hmm. And so this next one I'm gonna put with a caveat, but Leviathan, the story of Hellraiser, is on Shudder. So, when we talked about Leviathan, we talked about an 11-hour version that was called Leviathan, the Story of Hellraiser and Hellbound Hellraiser 2. This one that's on Shudder is they took the 2-hour cut of that movie instead of the 11-hour cut that we saw and divided it in half, so it's only the part that covers Hellraiser.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, when you say the 11-hour cut of the movie,
well, I know some of that is extras.
Yeah, I have to say with the 11 hours of content, I guess, because it's kind of split into. There's even like a part for Hellraiser 3. So yeah. But yes, I guess that's the name of the game. It's that it's such a big documentary that I guess all the versions that show up in other Blu-rays and other streaming services are kind of edited down for. Yeah. For a more manageable duration. But I still recommend getting the Julia 3 DVD set if you can find a copy of that. But hey, if you don't, this is a great opportunity for you guys to watch the Leviathan DVD, especially if you have Shudder.
Yeah, but cutting that down to 1 hour, it's like hopefully that they come out with the part 2 where you can see the Hellbound one also.
Right.
Cutting that down to an hour is kind of
it
really butchers kind of a lot of the cool details that you learned.
And then, I guess for some people they just want to know what
the base. This probably just covers the basic.
Yeah.
But
if they call it part 1, I guess there's going to be part 2.
And they call that 2-hour cut, I guess, the producer's cut. But,
okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this is half of that. So hopefully the other half will be on there soon. I've heard good things about Shudder, that they have a really good selection, but I've never subscribed.
Well, same here. I guess I have Netflix and I have Amazon Prime, and so I guess I have a vast collection of movies that I have in physical media. So I guess I haven't really bothered to connect with Shudder. But if anyone out there has Shudder, then go check it out. It's Leviathan, the Story of Hellraiser. It's called Part 1 here. The complete documentary was called Leviathan, the Story of Hellraiser and Hellbound Hellraiser 2. Yeah. So go check it out. And if you can, find the Julia 3 DVD set, because that is the one that, like Ryan said, has the 11 hours of content, 660 minutes of stuff that you can actually enjoy if you're like that much of a completist. If you have that, their companion book and the Scarlet Box, I think that's it, man. You're set. You're set with like the best of what the Hellraiser franchise has to offer, really.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, that and listen to our podcast too. I have to say, episode 99 is when we talked about Leviathan. So go check that out if you haven't.
Yeah, and the last one, this news just came out a few days ago, but Christopher Young is returning for Tales from the Hood 2. So,
yay!
Yeah. We actually talked about Tales from the Hood as part of our Clive Barker's A to Z of Horror discussion, because that was one of his books, one of his movies that he had mentioned.
I still haven't seen that.
Yeah. It's a really good movie, and it has Christopher Young's score, so it's got that kind of familiar feel, that makes you feel at home after seeing Hellraiser and Hellbound so much.
So it's great to see this nostalgic comeback of Tales from the Hood. I have to watch the first one. I have to admit I haven't seen it, but it's great to
love it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that movie Leprechaun 3. Leprechaun 3? Is that the one where he goes to the hood?
No, that's the fifth one, I think.
Oh, fifth one.
I have not seen that, but
I'm not either.
But this is funny. One of the best anthology movies I've seen. Yeah.
Oh, nice. I like particularly the fact that Christopher Young always looks like some kind of beach bum hippie look.
Yeah.
Yeah, he always has like this Hawaiian shirt and sunglasses, even when he's indoors. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like the picture you chose for this one, Rob. It's really funny. He's like sitting at his piano at home with a Hawaiian shirt and really black sunglasses. And,
Yeah.
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 No, yeah, you're right. He's laid back.
Yeah,
He's
it's
a
really
laid back guy.
So cool. Go check that out. And so is the movie going to come out soon? Do you know that?
This is the first I'd heard of it. Rob, do you know anything about the release?
No, I do not. But I would say I'd probably say in the next year, and it'd probably be like direct to video, maybe a video. Is it a video
like
on demand?
Netflix or something?
Yeah, it could be something
like a streaming
that.
service.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll keep our eyes peeled for that.
Yeah, it'll be cool. I wonder if Lawrence Fishburne is going to be in it.
I don't know. But I mean, I think this was the first film that deals with like a lot of, it mixes like the classic, Tales from the Crypt themes with like really important like subjects with like racism and like, child abuse, and like it did a good job of mixing all that together. So I'm hoping, with how today is, how the second one will kind of continue with those kind of themes.
Yeah.
So it's I think it'd be the right time to make a sequel for it. But
I think so too.
I wish they'd release a score of his, Rich, because it's not been officially released.
Oh, that would be cool.
I'd like to have it on vinyl. That's why I was putting in the report. I hope Waxworks Records maybe can do it, a version of it later.
Yeah, they usually make those cool vinyl releases, right? Where they make like colored vinyl, and they do like they take great care in making those sleeves and all that stuff that goes in it, and sometimes they remaster it, like they did for was it Candyman?
Yeah, they did Candyman 1 and 2 and Nightbreed. And
yeah, wasn't that nice? Yeah, those were really nice releases. So yeah, that hopefully they could put that one out. So I didn't know that there wasn't an official release, especially for a Christopher Young soundtrack, right?
Yeah.
Not even Sarabande Records or
no.
So they're okay. All right. So that's
I've been looking for that one because it's I love the themes of that movie so much. I've always wanted it, but no.
All right.
No official release as of yet.
Maybe this one will put its hooks on the first movie and kind of put both of them together. That would be great.
I hope so.
And on the site we have a few things that we've been up to. The YouTube on our YouTube channel. There's quite a few new things because we did that Cenobite interview from Texas Frightmare Weekend, and when you go to the YouTube channel, it might be a little overwhelming because there's 3 versions of it. One is just the audio version of our podcast, and if you want to listen to that, you can get our commentary at the beginning, our introduction.
It's like an extra 9 minutes of us just talking about our experience at Frightmare Weekend.
Yeah, and then we've got the full version of the video. That's kind of the one I like. That's the one I recommend because that's kind of how we operate. We're more laid back and like we like the longer conversations. And then there's
like almost an hour, right? 50 something minutes.
Yeah. And then there's a highlights version that's quite a bit shorter. I think 18 minutes.
For the Hellraiser fan on the go.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. You can kind of see me like going, like I'm going to say something, and then it'll cut to somebody else.
But you get like the gist of it, I guess, and you get some of the best questions and answers there. So if you're going to be like, oh no, I don't want to watch 50 minutes of like people talking, then just check out the highlights. And but we really do recommend the full on video because we put a lot of work into that, and it's really fun. And our guests were so humorous and so great to talk to.
And it doesn't seem to last. It goes by. The pacing of it is very good. It doesn't seem to last 50 minutes.
And we want to thank Little Spark Films, of course, who actually recorded and edited and sent it to us. And that was great crowd to work with. Little Spark Films from Dallas, Texas. Check them out.
Yeah, and we also from the floor of the convention hall talked to. We talked to Kevin Yeager, and Rob, you and Jose, mostly, and I was kind of there in the background, but But that was a really amazing thing, and he talked about Hellraiser Bloodline, which he never talks about. So you guys should go check that out.
Yes, and I'm actually transcribing that interview right now. So there's stuff here I can tell you. He said something like, I said, thanks again for being willing to revisit Hellraiser Bloodline with us a little bit. I know it was kind of frustrating experience for you. And he said, yeah, it's a little painful, but yeah, I haven't talked about it actually much at all. So you guys may be the first type of interview I've done about it since. And so, I've heard that Paul Kane had talked to him about Hellraiser Bloodline for that upcoming book called Hellraisers. That was supposed to come out 6 months ago and still hasn't. But we're still keeping our ears and eyes open for that one because I'm really looking forward to that Paul Kane book. Mm-hmm. But so in the meantime, you can listen to that interview that we did with David Sharp's help. He was cameraman for most of it.
Yeah, he did a great job shooting that.
And I was the microphone stand.
Yeah. And it was very impromptu, and it was like Kevin Yeager was like, "Oh, let's just go into this hallway," and he actually kind of sat down on the floor, and we're like, "Okay, I guess this is happening here."
Yeah.
So we went through it, and actually the video is not that bad because it was a little dark in the hallway, but I guess you can still make it out pretty well.
Yeah.
And lots of interesting stuff, especially in regards to his other movies as well. Rob, you kind of took over the interview and started asking him about Chucky, about other movies that had that dog. What was the name of that dog movie?
Man's Best Friend.
Man's Best Friend. Thank you. Yeah, and stuff like that.
The Hidden and Sleepy Hollow. Some questions on that, and a couple questions on Phantom of the Opera, the movie he did with Robert Englund, the one he starred as the Phantom.
And so I hope you guys go and listen to the video and watch the video and listen to the episode because it's really, really informative. And you can find out more about how the production of Hellraiser Bloodline got so troubled because basically, I guess it was kind of a first-time producer, and then Bob Weinstein was kind of interfering with it a bit and kind of took away I was going to say Alan Smithy. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
They took away Kevin Yeager's director of photography with whom he had worked for like 3 or 4 weeks before the shoot was about to start, and then said, why don't we change that with another one that I've been working with, and then you can start shooting in 4 days. And it's like, that's not what you do to a director.
Yeah.
Because, they plan out the shots and they plan out the different ways they're going to film the movie in a matter of weeks, and then you can't just like switch that and say, well, it's just 3 or 4 days, why don't we put you with someone different? And that's one of the moments.
The guy said he wanted to change, change to Kevin. Didn't even really want to do the movie anyway, so it was kind of just a no-win situation.
Interference upon interference. And so that's why the movie ended up the way it did. But go check it out. You may learn more about it. And so that's what's on YouTube.
Yeah. And Rob, you did a new scene of the week, which we haven't done one of those in a while. It was nice to see. It was nice to see that feature making a comeback. Yeah.
It was did a for a celebration of the announcement of the 4K release of the upcoming Candyman 4K release from Arrow Video.
Yeah,
I picked this. Yeah, me too. I picked the scene where what's the character's name? Because I'm not looking at
Purcell.
Yeah, Purcell tells the story of how Candyman became Candyman. I always was a fan of that scene, how he told it. It was kind of like it reminded me when my dad would tell stories about folk tales or something like that.
Oh yeah, from North Carolina.
Yeah. He grew up in Tennessee, and he would tell us stories, and just to scare, kind of scare us to go to, before we went to bed.
Do you remember any sort of like folk legend that you can just mention real quick, or?
No, not offhand.
Okay.
I'll have to ask Dad. Maybe we can put it in the show notes.
Yeah, sure.
Well, if you don't know how the story of Candyman, how are you going to bury me?
So actor Michael Culkin did a great job, right? And this is one of those expansions to the mythology in an adaptation that I think really worked, because of course in the beginning, in the original story, Candyman is not a real person. He's actually just this legend that comes to life through the sheer willpower of belief, right?
Yeah.
It's like he never existed. He was never a real person. It's just this urban legend that people believe, and they believe in it so much that it gives him life.
He was
And
like
he
a
actually shows
waxy
up.
yellow guy from Liverpool, I think.
Right. And I guess this also comes from like Rob was talking about his dad telling him stories. Like Clive Barker's grandmother used to tell him stories about this character from Liverpool, I think called Spring-Heeled Jack, which was this kind of ripper figure that would jump out of, alleys and attack people, and then he would jump back into the darkness. It's kind of like a weird, like an evil Batman kind of guy, right?
Yeah.
So that's cool, and so I really enjoyed watching the scene of the week that you picked. It's nice to have something that brings Candyman back to the fan, to people who may not have seen the movie. They'll watch this scene and they'll probably want to see it again.
Yes.
Or for the first time.
And then we also have an in-depth review of Imaginer 5 from Markus Williams. So thanks, Markus, if you're out there listening. But yeah, he does a great job. He's really, really into the art books and always does an in-depth review of those. I have to admit I'm not caught up. I don't have Imaginer 5 yet, but looking forward to it.
Oh boy, does he ever do an in-depth review? Wowee. Yeah. I mean, this one goes on forever, and instead of just reviewing the book, he actually analyzed some of his favorite paintings from the book, which makes it even more interesting, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like, let me see. He had done... Was he the one who also did like the book bundle post of Imaginer Volume 4 and 5?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. So he's always on the following the Imaginer series, and this Imaginer 5 review, it's pretty amazing. So this is called Flesh and the Forbidden: A Marriage of Heaven and Hell, an Imaginer 5 review. And it really goes on forever and ever. And I really enjoy this. And some of the paintings that he picks to talk about, like Angels and Demons Dining Together, it's a painting it always fascinated me, this painting. You got so much stuff going on in the background here. Like there's actually an angel that's giving a demon a hand job under the table.
Yeah, I saw that.
Stuff like that. And it's just such, Clive Barker stuff. You can also see an image of the Unconsumed in this new volume, which I think he was a character from the Scarlet Gospels, right?
Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, at least the painting is called The Unconsumed, so I'm going to imagine that I said it, imagine. I'm going to imagine that this Imaginer painting refers to the Unconsumed from...
Look at that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's cool. So, yeah, and he was a character in the Scarlet Gospels that could sit on the throne that would burn everybody else up. He would not be consumed by the fire.
I may be wrong. This may be from another character from Abarat, but I'm going to assume that this one is covered in fire, so I'm going to think that that's the one from the Scarlet Gospels.
I think so, too.
Yeah, and you can see this amazing triptych. That's a glyph created by hundreds of people in the Abarat story, right? Is this from Abarat 3, Ryan?
Which we're looking at the circle?
A gigantic triptych that has this enormous glyph that's created by like 500 people. I know that this was announced. I read about this in like one of the revelatory interviews at clivebarker.info, but I'm not sure if this was already published in Abarat 3 or not. In any case.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, so this may be something that's going to come out in a future volume of Abarat. Yeah. So yeah, and you got a lot of stuff here, a lot of stuff to go through and go read it. You can purchase Imaginer volume at the Clive Barker Archive, and wow, go read this review.
This review makes me want to buy the book. I wish I had the extra money. I mean, it really is very good, well written, review. And I highly recommend it to our listeners.
And thanks again, Markus. We hope to see more stuff from you in the future.
Yes, absolutely. It's always a pleasure to read Marcus's reviews of Imaginer.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Didn't he do a 4 too? I think he did a Imaginer 4.
He did, yes.
He did,
Yeah.
Coming up next week will be Marvel Hellraiser Part 5, which includes issues 14 through 16. Yeah, and this podcast, having no beginning, will have no end. Find the show notes for this episode and join the discussion over at www.clivebarkercast.com, where we have news and links to all the ways you can connect with us. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and every other place you can find podcasts. The Clive Barker Podcast is an independent editorial podcast and news blog that is not affiliated with or under contract by Seraphim Inc. This is a labor of love by the fans for the fans.
Thanks for listening.